I met somebody years ago that told me something that just kind of like shook me. This person told me that he wanted to be, I think it was like a marine biologist or something like that. He was very interested in marine life. However, his parents had other plans for him, right? And I thought about it and I was like, how could somebody live their entire life abiding by that, giving into that, and not doing what it is that they actually want to do with their life? And that is something that just really sat with me for a while. I could, I mean, he was somebody who was really good with kind of like, just shrugging it off and, oh, whatever, that's life. And no, it's not. That's not life. Um, and for a while now, I've been really looking at childhood, and I've been thinking about how in childhood, of course, depending on the childhood that people get to live, because not everybody gets to live the same childhood. For many, childhood was a shit show. For other people, they got to, be raised in an environment of safety where they actually got to experience themselves and, you know, just be themselves and explore themselves and understand themselves. They weren't made to do things that children shouldn't do, right? And for those people that got to experience that kind of childhood, a childhood of safety, right? They got to actually meet themselves. They got to discover themselves, right? The energetic signature of that childhood is it's one of playfulness, it's one of curiosity and creativity and wonder and just exploration. You get to have a space to experience yourself in a very healthy way. Um, and the really cool thing about childhood, specifically those childhood or that type of childhood, is that you're not really, I mean, don't get me wrong, if you take a child's toy away, you're going to hear it, right? But children aren't really attached to anything. They don't know anything, right? They're being guided by their parents. They're being led by the way that they're being raised, right? But those children that get to experience that type of safe childhood, where they're not raised in an environment of chaos, of, unpredictability, unsafety, drama, gossip, all that kind of stuff, they really get to focus on themselves, right? Now, this is not a black or white thing, like you either got that or you didn't. Sometimes there is in between, depending on the dynamic of how a person is raised in childhood. But there's something specifically about childhood in terms of potential, right? And a lot of people do get to experience childhood and their upbringing this way, but then maybe something changes later on, right? I'm here to talk about the energetic signature of childhood that basically gets lost in adulthood, right? And this is why some people feel lost. This is why some people feel stuck. Again, like I was saying before, the energetic signature of childhood is playfulness. Like you take, how like you think about like I don't know, people think about like the great American dream. Oh, the white picket fence, the golden retriever, the beautiful family, like this, that, and the other. That fresh green turf that is cut as fresh as a golf course. The generic lovely childhood is that of playfulness. It's that of exploration and this, that, and the other. That is, of course, if it is granted that way for a child or for children, because not every child gets that, depending on how they're raised, right? That's just the reality of that. But the energetic signature of many adults, you know, you feel stuck, you feel lost, right? Let's look at it. Because this is fascinating. Look at a child in childhood, right? At some point, they start to get attached to things, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. There's such thing, I'm pretty sure at least, as attachment theory, right? This is the way that children attach to parents, attach to people. That's just the way that it is, right? What I'm saying, though, is more so things. Attachment to things, more so rather than people, right? In childhood, children are just having fun. They're not really doing things like, you know, oh, I'm doing this to get me that. They're just doing things as an end in itself, rather than as a means to an end, right? In adulthood, many adults that feel stuck or feel lost, they're doing things because they feel like they're supposed to. They're doing things because they feel like they have to. There is an obligation to do so. But if you were to ask them if they actually wanted to do it, they would say no, of course not. I fucking hate this, actually. I don't like this. I dread every single day waking up. I look forward to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because I can't wait to get away from this. Yeah, many adults don't like their lives. They feel stuck. They feel lost. And they lost that element from childhood. Or maybe they actually never got to have it because of the environment that they were raised in. Right? But what they don't have is that element of playfulness, of curiosity, of discovering the self. Man, so many people don't even know who they are because they never got to fucking meet themselves in childhood. Right? And not only that, but, you know, there's all of this stress and anxiety and depression that comes with being an adult because we've learned that we need to take all these different things and label them with this utmost fucking importance and place them on a pedestal, which then, guess what that does? That creates resistance around what it is that we want, right? Because we're like, oh, but it would be so cool if I could have that. I really need it. I really need it. Yeah, the energetic signature of want and need suggests lack. So that means that you really don't have it. And not only that, but it also means that it's really not natural for you. Right? How fucking wild is that? So, not only are you totally out of touch with your childhood essence of playfulness, of just trying something, of just enjoying whatever it is that you're doing, right? You're also placing whatever it is that you want on a pedestal, right? Oh, it would be so great if I could have that because then I finally wouldn't feel like this worthless fucking loser that I've felt like my entire life because I was raised to believe that I'm just not good enough and I'll never be good enough. So if I could just have that thing right there, yeah, right there. It's as high as the sky and it's really hard to achieve and I'm going to work my fucking face off to get it and I'm going to stress myself out and I'm going to fuck myself up and I'm going to fuck my fucking relationships up because I just really want that. If I just had that, oh, give it to me. Like, yeah, you know, like who the fuck wants that? No. And that's kind of what happens to adults as they grow. They forget about themselves. They focus on this idea of what it is that they need to be that is actually separate from themselves because, again, shit, unworthiness is a fucking illusion. You learned that in a childhood that taught you that you weren't good enough as you were because the system that you were raised in traumatized you with their own trauma, right? And so either you never fucking had it because your childhood just sucked, and that's unfortunate, of course, but that's just the way that it is sometimes. And so you never really got to meet yourself, so you never really got to figure out what's important to you, and you ended up just going along with what everyone else told you you needed to do, and that never really felt authentic for you, but life ended up feeling like death anyway, and you're like, oh, well, fuck it, I'll just make a lot of money, and I guess at some point I'll be happy, but it never really comes. And you just follow this thing that everyone else tells you need to do. Maybe your parents control your life. Maybe they control who you marry, the college you went to, what you did for a living. You make a fuck ton of money, but you're really fucking unhappy with life. Yeah, that sucks. And so the energetic signature of many people that feel lost or stuck as an adult, yeah, you're missing something. But it's not because you actually lack something, it's because you didn't get something. Or whatever you did get in childhood that was great because you got that playfulness, you got to actually meet yourself, that was somehow lost as an adult, right? And so now you're attached to this thing. Oh, it would be so great if I could have this, but it's all the way up there and I've got to do all these things to get... No, you don't. You don't need to do anything. I mean, actually, hold on a second. Let me make this very clear. It's about the self, right? It goes back to childhood. It's about your energy, right? The only reason why you think that you need something out there is because you feel like you lack something in here, right? You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you're not worthy. Maybe the people that raised you taught you that, right? The only reason that you're looking for something out there is because you feel like you don't have it. You feel like you lack it. You feel like you're unworthy. You feel like you need to fucking exhaust yourself. And don't get me wrong, in terms of success, it's a long-term thing, of course. However, it actually has a lot more to do with a person's energy than it does with anything out there. You can go chase whatever the fuck you want out there. Go ahead, exhaust yourself, because you will, right? But the second that you change your energy, and again, this mirrors childhood, because in childhood, people got to meet themselves. They got to be playful and experience themselves and understand themselves and learn about themselves. Some people got that and then they lost it. Other people didn't get that at all and they just don't even know what the fuck they're doing, right? Life, love, happiness, growth, relationships, you have so much more to do with just looking at yourself and working with your energy and knowing you and being playful, letting go of whatever it is that you want, just focusing on your energy. That's what this is about. Life, the universe, it's a game of energy, right? You can change your energy, you can change your life. That's just the way that it works. So did you miss out on something in childhood? Maybe you did. Maybe you got halfway of it. What do you want now, though? Do you actually want what it is that you're going after? Or are you questioning everything? It's okay if you're questioning everything. But what do you actually want? Underneath all of those layers of conditioning, all of that noise, all of that bullshit, what do you actually want?